Boston's not far.
Renovation.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
I think he was like physically pulling, in which case Boston doesn't make any sense.
No. Okay, so hang on. Short flag off. Bus cuts.
unless it goes down the Rochester, you know, the tip top, unless it comes back on top. Just to keep the driver's knowledge. Some of that truck top.
Well, yeah.
I don't need both. You need that one. I don't need both.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get banked out of Victoria on it on the VSO anyway, 50007, but it didn't.
No, I didn't need it because I didn't have the camera last time.
Yeah, I saw it, yeah.
Sometimes my genius to put every camera just hit them with a skin. Just engage one drop.
Firm with it. I like it.
I'll do what I'm Oh.
There he is.
Yes. Looks like I should be modelling for.
And then,
Taking pictures of rusty things.
well, this was, there's the light there, I think, that made it, and maybe the lights. Walking around, he's posing in the sand. But he did look sad at all times and dreamy.
Going on.
Personality over it. 119.
Yeah, we've gone to just outside.
There is one or two.
Yeah, and so I thought, I want to tick this off. So the sides just walk around. That never materialised, so it just ended up being.
Yes.
But you know what? It'd be good. I know this sounds crap, but we're still in more in a winter. In Korea, maybe. We used to have them.
So the other journey, just went to
Yeah.
I don't know why you do who does the rosters for the
once you've had your railway ride and visit the town. But whatever happens, we are leaving Carmarthen tonight at 5:08. So your target is to return to Carmarthen station by 5 o'clock at the latest, so that we can have a prompt departure. Some of you, of course, may just be visiting Carmarthen, which is fine, but that's your target, to be back at Carmarthen station tonight at 5 o'clock. That's when we return from Tenby and Pembroke, and then we make our way back towards London. So it's time for a leg stretch at Carmarthen. We'll only be there enough time for the train to turn around, so a matter of probably 10-20 minutes. And then we'll make our way onwards to Tenby, where there'll be a stop of about an hour and 20 minutes. What goes on at Tenby, but you will have about an hour and 20 minutes there for those of you who want to step off and take the sea air, grab something to eat or whatever, and then we'll make our way onwards from there to Pembroke and come back to Tenby. So you've got two chances of rejoining the train at Tenby on the way back. More of that in a little while. We'll take our scenic cruise now down to Tenby en route to Pembroke. Thank you.
Well, half of which got birds and ended up being eaten by that sea.
Hence why you come back for what?
It's got a whole burnt crust, basically just down it. Second one. Oh, we went to
We got this. I think my mate Darren at the moment, he worked for Trap Off yesterday, and he's got like a couple of days off, and he's on a practice so I've met them Portugal. Then he's like, he's just literally, they're willing to stand into the ground. Weird. We're just the place.
That's where we go. 8 minutes.
Well, some point smashed it the place. Where are we going off that this road next? Yeah.
I think we'll do okay. What are you going to say if you do
Wines, beers, ciders. In fact, we've pretty well got everything. So pop on down and we'll see what we can do for you. Look forward to seeing you.
Was it a business trip?
Oh, well, maybe that's what it was. Maybe.
Paid on work's expenses, you know, and fair play to it, I say.
Remember the first trip?
Exactly.
Right. Whatever, chuck that up yourself.
You should have manned it up and not shot to hold.
The amount of empty seats in there, if they sort of have on
You have to move on 12 caravans to secure your seats.
Winners here. Have we got any raffle winners?
You did the ticket before we got on. We got that glass like the ticket's already done by then.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Apologies.
Alright.
Let's have a look.
It's been done.
You know when someone says, "Oh, that hasn't come from me," it's like, "Oh, my source says." Yeah, because I can't see the just the following the set coaches empty now. It's just going back to north from like 2 days after empty. Well, so this is H. So where will it? Because if you go Princess Elizabeth, where's the 40 seater? Well, that seems to be where the base. On Friday they'll have to put it on the siesta. Well, you quite back in quote. The SCR50 got come down to the come down to the No, yeah, it would do, yeah. Yeah.
50 double 8 40 seats on top.
Well, what 50 double 08 could be up the back, it's quite easy, yeah. Makes sense, yeah. Well, yeah, so it's got the right range. Well, I'll pick 40. Huh? Say no, not 50. Yeah, right, but they have to run that train. Yeah, but they've got to run the east yet, so they've got to get to one way along to finish this. That's the north anyway. Let's go down online. See.
Don't show this. On the new one, don't show this. Don't show this.
I know they haven't got the journey, have they?
I'll go round to the new one.
His was quite, not like, I don't know, for me it seems to be like forming a relationship. This seems to be more, I don't know, like he was started spouting what sounded like badly written sci-fi.
Yeah, he asked Claude to order tungsten cube.
Yeah, I've mentioned to her this market anyway, but this is going to be conditioning room. At the moment there is, as I've said, well, there's a lot of people who like to get back to the north. Yes.
It's a helicopter. There's a helicopter. Way, a helicopter.
Okay, well that's kind of to do with trains, isn't it?
I don't think it is, but I know we will.
Oh wait.
Okay.
Well, 1 minute.
All right.
They're probably thinking, they're first, it's more comfortable.
Sorry. Don't see any of the green ones. I see them there, but they're not in the right position where you can see what they are. Can't see the numbers.
That should be a lane I'm trying to see.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah, but it was a small amount. Well, I reckon they've had to bring them back in. However,
Alright, I'll see you guys later then.
All the best. Good journey home.
You too, guys.